Well, hi everyone, and welcome to another podcast from the Real CD Show. My name is Chamberlain Burke,
And I'm Devlin Burke.
and today we want to wish happy anniversary to the four members of KISS: Gene Simmons, Paul Stanley, Ace Frehley, and Peter Criss, because on September 18th, 1978, each of them released solo albums. And so we want to spend just a few minutes of your time talking about those to celebrate those. Um, so let's start with Gene Simmons' album. According to Wikipedia, it features choirs and string arrangements as well as incorporating various musical genres, including Beatles-inspired pop, 1970s funk, disco, rock and roll, and hard rock. It was the highest placing of all the four KISS solo albums. It was certified platinum on October 2nd, 1978, so it was released on the 18th of September, and just 2 weeks later, it was already platinum. So, Devlin, tell me your thoughts about this album.
Well, this album to me, as much as I love KISS, this to me is my least favorite of the KISS album. I mean, it's the highlight. There's like one song on here I really like, and that is "See You Tonight." There's also "Man of a Thousand Faces," which is about Lon Chaney, so senior. So that's pretty cool. But I've never really been a fan of Gene Simmons' voice. I respect him as a founding member of KISS. He has a great marketing strategy, but his songs never really appealed to me. I thought this was a very bold move. I thought it was very interesting to hear an album of just all his songs. But it didn't really impress me that much. You had a chance to listen to some of it. What did you think of it?
Yeah, I listened to it with great interest. What I liked was, it's like, do you like it or do you not like it? His solo album had the most guest appearances. He had people like Donna Summer, Rick Nielsen from Cheap Trick, Bob Seger, Joe Perry, Katie Segal from Married with Children, and so many other things, and Janice Ian. So he had a lot of backup, really, really good voices. Now, the thing is, there's a couple different ways of looking at that. Were there a couple of friends who did him a favor and, hey, let's all get together and do a really fun album? Or were they brought in because it was needed to bolster the album? Nobody will know. I like See You Tonight. I agree with it. He also does When You Wish Upon a Star, and according to the book, he talks about how this was his favorite movie, and
it was the first movie he saw when he came to America.
Right, and so, but he sings "When You Wish Upon a Star," and it's like the original music and everything. So, he takes some bold steps here. I didn't dislike the album. I understand what you were saying about his voice, and it is different to hear, 11 or 12 cuts with just his voice, but he does have some great backup. Let's move on to Paul Stanley. Now, this, I think, if I can speak for both of us, is our favorite. This album reached number 40. It has all original songs, whereas everybody else had at least one cover on theirs. It was the most KISS-like. Tell me your thoughts.
Yeah, of the four KISS albums, I think this one is probably my favorite. When I became a KISS fan, the first songs I heard were the Paul Stanley songs, and that was what made me go, hello, I like this band. But this album, I feel it's a very good balance of ballads and up-tempo rock songs. There's like 3 ballads there's 9 songs on this one, and it's like three ballads and the rest, and about 4 rock and roll songs. The first song, Tonight You Belong to Me, starts out slow and then kicks in the middle. This to me is by far the best KISS album.
Now, I was introduced to KISS through this album. Wouldn't You Like to Know Me and Hold Me, Touch Me, Think of Me When We're Apart. And that is a great way to get introduced to KISS. Now, the other more popular songs of the entire band, Rock and Roll All Night, Party Every Day, help me here.
Detroit Rock City,
and Lick It Up. That was the one I couldn't think of. Those were all really, popular pop hits. Despite all of the years Kiss had been around, I had never heard these two Paul Stanley songs until just within the last 10 years. But I like this album immensely, and I think he was really bold. He did, all, as I said, all original songs, and his voice is just incredible. Okay, Ace Frehley's. Let's see, what did I want to say about him? So this was the highest placing, had the highest placing of the singles, and it was the highest selling of these 4 solo albums. So Ace really did a lot of good things here. Go ahead and tell me what you think of his album.
I like Ace Frehley's album. I think if I were going to rank them, I think this one falls under number 3 for me. Ace had just started singing. He sang first and foremost on Shock Me on the Love Gun album. So this was really refreshing to finally hear his voice, because most of the songs were sung by Gene, Paul, and Peter. So this was really interesting. I think the standout song for the two of us was What's on Your Mind. I know New York Groove is the popular song from this one, but I gotta say, I really love What's on Your Mind. I love I love the chorus. I love how vocal it is. Fractured Mirror is a great instrumental where Ace just rips, and for aspiring guitar players, that's the song you need to listen to. Chamberlain, what were your thoughts on this album?
Well, I like what you said. Yes, it was nice to finally hear his voice, and he has a very unique voice. I, too, liked What's on Your Mind. I liked the way it sounded, and I liked the way it was put together. And it was, we're not the only ones, because it was the highest selling of these 4 solo albums. So, kudos to him. And it was really nice to hear him, because he didn't do the standout too terribly often. So it was very nice to hear from him. Now, Peter Criss's album was the lowest charting. Well, somebody's, you got to rank them somehow. Okay. So it was the lowest charting of the solo albums. It reached number 43 on the U.S. Billboard album chart. And he released 2 singles, Don't You Let Me Down, and You Matter to Me, and neither of them charted. Give me your thoughts on this album.
Okay, so Peter Criss's voice is probably my second favorite Kiss voice. I love the rasp of his voice. I love how bluesy his voice sounds. So to me, this album ranks number 2 for me. If I were ranking the albums, this one comes under number 2, because I just love hearing his voice. You and I both really liked That's the Kind of Sugar Papa liked. His album has a bit more ballads on it. I Can't Stop the Rain's pretty cool. Kiss the Girl Goodbye. He does a few covers on this, but to me that wasn't an issue. I liked hearing his voice, and like I said, Gene and Paul really did kind of dominate. He sang, I think, like 4 or 5 songs. He sang at least one song on every Kiss album up to this point. So to get a full taste of what he was like and what influences him, and Hooked on Rock and Roll is a cute number where he talks about how he was vaccinated with the Victrola needle.
Yeah.
So that's pretty cool. Chamberlain, what are your thoughts on Peter Criss?
I agree. I like this album a lot. And it includes Tossin' and Turnin', which is the Bobby Lewis song. But he does it in a more ballad-like. It wasn't that rock and roll 50s, 60s kind of thing. I did like it. I do like his voice. I'm not real sure that I understand how this came in number 4 for the population, but I agree. I think this is number 2 for me also. So let's rate these. Let's rank these ourselves. So if we were doing this, and of course it was done by reception back in the 70s. So Paul Stanley was our favorite, followed by Peter's, then Ace's, and then Gene's. Is that correct?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, I like these. I think this was a bold move. I like it when people step out of their shell and try something new. And I'd rather try something new and have it not work or not work as well. Every time you try something, it's a learning experience. I'm very grateful that they did this because it gave us some really, really cool songs that may not have made it onto a Kiss group album. So this is, probably, between 35 and 42 songs. I didn't do the math. So around 40 songs that we wouldn't have gotten under other circumstances. And I think they each stand on their own for a variety of reasons, and I think they each have their own merit. Each of these performers took a chance and had a chance to go out and say, hey, this is me, and this is what I want you to know of me by myself. Is that correct?
I think so. Yeah, I think so too. I loved this move. I remember watching the documentary and they were talking about the marketing for it. There was like a big cardboard display and it was all for Kiss albums. So you walked into the store and you were bombarded by that. So marketing wise, it's a good move. I think creatively it helped exercise a few demons, and it was just a way for them to explore creative wise what they wanted to do. And I thought this was the best move. I wish they would do it more often.
I agree. And from marketing, I'm glad you brought that up. The album art was all done by the same gentleman. So they all look, it's a unique move where the art is the same, but it's different for each individual one. So I suggest you take a moment and go and listen to the 4 solo Kiss albums and wish a happy anniversary to the 4 members of Kiss. Paul Stanley, Gene Simmons, Peter Criss, and Ace Frehley. Thank you very much for your bold move, and we appreciate it. Happy anniversary. And that's our podcast for right now. So on behalf of the Real CD Show, I'm Chamberlain Burke.
And I'm Devlin Burke.
Have a great day, and happy anniversary.